So, the NFL just changed the kickoff rules, and first, I would like for all of us to take a moment of silence for our loss of our dear friend, the onside kick, and reminisce on all the great memories it gave us. Okay, with that out of the way, now I'm not going to sit here and pretend like the regular onside was a fun or interesting play. I think at the end of its career, it had like a, turnover percentage of 7% or something like that, so it was honestly not a very exciting play to me. I almost knew it was never going to happen, but one thing I want to cover is how different football is going to be now that the kickoff rule has changed, starting with the specials position. So this concept I'm about to go over is about to get a video of its own, but pretty much us specialists have become kickerists. We flew too close to the sun, we hit too many touchbacks, and our hang times were simply too good. So when you have too much of a good thing, you take it away. They took both of them. And what do I mean? I mean, if you hit the ball directly into the end zone, aka touchback, they get the ball at the 35, which is the equivalent of kicking it out of bounds, and no bueno. We have done a lot to avoid giving teams the ball at the 35. On top of that, they also said that no player can move until the returner catches the ball, so hang time is no longer a factor, and also makes it the only play in the sport where a player cannot move while the ball is moving. Think about it. Every single play, aside from this one, has the defining moment of the play's beginning being the initial movement of the ball. So after hundreds of years, we have broken that mold, which is why I think so many people find it just strange and unappealing to the eyes. But aside from that, I'm sure you're just aching to be filled in on what interesting different schematics are going to come out of this, and I'm happy to tell you that we already have a small idea of what teams are going to do with this. The most basic package for a kickoff is going to reflect a regular kickoff unit. You're going to have most of the guys playing to the ball, trying to get off blocks, usually avoiding to the kick side or where the returner is, but with probably one guy per side going to drop back or stay in the same spot like a safety in order to ensure that no big breakaways happen and also prepare for a big return. Now, one of my qualms with this return is that it just kind of makes it hard for backside guys to properly engage with the return. Usually on kickoffs, you'll sort of condense and create this bowl around the returner to sort of squeeze him into one side or the other in a layered attack on his return path. And now, obviously, since everybody's lined up so close to the ball horizontally, you're not going to have an easy time of doing that, making it more like a pursuit drill in this case, as the returner is going to immediately be running away from you, and there's going to be too much ground to cover for you to be running forward and at him at the same time, but I digress. On the return side, it's also going to be especially stifling because of the spacing. With everybody being restricted to having to start on the line, you lack a lot of depth to change up who a specific player may be blocking, as you're typically going to be forced to block the guy directly in front of you or maybe to his right or his left, which means you lack the spacing to bring guys across the field, to set up different looks, lack the ability to bring double teams from different areas, to force leverages to go one way or another, and the most unique look you're going to get is some sort of a reverse play, but best in class you can get is just to try to find your favorable matchups on the line and get good one-on-one blocks to try to set up the returner to take on a kicker. And I'm still waiting. I think they're going to start putting offensive linemen at these positions. Offensive linemen, sneakily athletic, sneakily fast. So I think they're going to put up your best blockers on this front, since there's now 0% chance they're ever going to touch a ball, which is one of the reasons why the NFL stopped doing that a long time ago. And I think another way that the meta is going to shift for the kickoff team is that you're going to have the kicker try to get the ball very low and very far away from the returner, so that way you can get effective hang time. This is going to be a huge strategy, because if that returner has to field the ball on the move to avoid getting the ball at the 20, which is what would happen if the ball bounces into the end zone while landing in the field of play, then that's more time that your kickoff team has to run down there and try to cover this ball, as he's still trying to get his feet back within him, which is good for you, and it kind of circumvents the lack of hang time that you're going to get. On top of this, if this becomes a prominent thing, that means that they might even have to start putting back two returners, which is another benefit, because that means there's one less person that's going to be blocking initially off the line, and also that returner will probably act like a lead blocker if he doesn't get the ball kicked to him, which will give your guys a key as to where the return's going as soon as that ball gets kicked. So it's just a twofold thing that could completely shift the meta. But I just want to get your brains tinkering around with what could happen, get those fluids pumping, and I cannot wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. As always, have an amazing day and peace.